So an athletic golf swing is the worst thing you can do for your golf game because it will cause massive back issues, horrendous club face control, and just a general lack of power. So let's get into why that is and what you need to do instead. Now, an athletic golf swing was massively talked about in the 2000s and 2010s. You'd often always hear about it on TV by the commentator saying he's got a very nice athletic golf swing. So what that would really be, the classic athletic posture of a lot of knee bend, a lot of hip hinge, but then from there, the actual swing portion would be a swing devoid of a lot of hip turn, so really resisting that hip turn with lots and lots of upper body rotation. So a big coil up with that upper body, barely any hip turn, lots of right knee flex. So this is where we would see players like Jason Day, for example, would really be almost the poster child of this golf swing, very athletic golfer with the so-called athletic golf swing. And then what we see from there, we see those players, they end up having massive amounts of injury time away from competitive golf, from back issues. Another one, Michelle Wee, big back issues from this same problem, but very athletic golf swings. So why would that one cause back issues, to have this swing where you're really resisting that lower body, lots of upper body turn, and then really flex right knee? Now you've got to imagine if we're keeping that lower body in a static position whilst the upper body is trying to coil as much as it can, how much stress and strain is that going to put on your lower back? A lot. But also from there, what's going to happen in the downswing? Now, when a player doesn't really get a massive amount of rotation of the lower body in the backswing, and they just try to do it all via upper body turn, you would often see them at the top of the backswing with a little bit of a lack of depth at the top. So like Jason Day, we can see here with that exact same thing. We could see him with his old swing, big lack of depth at the top. So that means the hands are pretty much on top of the body. More depth you have, more behind, less depth on top. So in the downswing from there, that'll cause the club to get out a little bit out in front of you and oftentimes quite steep. So when you're in this position here, it's really hard to continue to turn because you'll present quite an outward path going through the golf ball, quite a steep angle of attack. So we'll see players from there oftentimes slow down their rotation a little bit, back out the shot, come out their posture to reorganize their shaft angle. But that's slowing down, halting that body's rotation and movement to get everything realigned going back into the golf ball to hit your target. That's going to have a massive jarring effect on that lower back again. So there's a lot of things in there that can have a big influence on your back. So not only that, it can have big influences on just your general control of your golf shot. So just like the example we had there of the lack of depth because of the no turn of that lower body, of course you can get depth from turning the upper body, but it's generally quite hard for most players. So club out in front, like we said, can be a little bit steep at that time. Having to come out of your posture, stall out your rotation to get the club to come back on path. See when I'd early extend, see how the club's going to shallow out a little bit. But from there, because I'm now not controlling the club with my body, I'm going to be at the mercy of what my hands and arms are doing. Remember how fast the downswing is? Imagine stopping everything there, like we said, for back pain. That's going to be really damaging, but also how fast the downswing is, how little time we've got to be able to control a move going through the golf ball with our hands and arms. So it's not the most conducive of controlling your shot and club face control. So absolutely one area, but one also other area is we will have terrible tilting of our hips. If we're turning with no hip turn and a braced, flexed right knee, remember having that right leg really flexed was the big thing, wasn't it? Having that athletic golf swing. So turning back there, your hips, two hip bones are going to be extremely level. So from there we know, golf ball, where is it? It's on the ground. It's got to be tilted, be ideal. So if we are turned up to top, level hips, what's going to happen from there if the hips stay level? They're going to slide away. So this big sliding movement, we see it's really common with golfers trying to keep that flex right leg, minimal hip turn. We see them sliding. When those hip tilts stays level, you will start to slide. It's going to be incredibly hard again to clear your hips and turn and rotate nicely through the shot. So again, we need to have a way where we can keep that hip tilt in a good spot. Losing some flex with that trail leg is going to be a big one for that. So let's have a little look here so we know what to do. Jason Day, a little bit of a before and after there. You can see how he has really had a little bit of that more straightening of that right leg. See how it's a lot straighter than where he was before. and you can see he's got a little bit more hip turn. So if we just watch this a little bit here, because this is a really cool little video I saw the other day. So now we can see, where's Jason Day at the top? He's in a much better position up there. Now, as we start moving down, you can see, look at his shaft angle, how much different that is. From the old athletic one, you can see the club shaft was steep, and now on the new one where he's been working on getting that little bit more hip turn, a little bit less flexing that right leg. Look at his club shaft, shallow. So now he's got a green light to be able to turn. So that's what we need to do. We need to get a little bit more hip rotation, and then we need to lose some flex. So a little drill I like to do for this is just getting an alignment stick, pointing it, getting it through that alignment. So all we need to do is grab an alignment stick, put it through our belt loops, just like so. You can see a little bit coming from the right, a lot of it coming from the left. So now we can see our hip turn coming back here. So what we're going to be doing now, we want to get this stick going halfway to the golf ball on the way back. We want to get some hip turn. We don't want to restrict it. Stable base. As soon as you hear someone say that, they don't know what they're on about. So get that going towards halfway towards the golf ball, that alignment stick. And you're going to notice that right leg is going to start to lose some flex as you do it. We don't want it to be dead straight, absolutely not. We want it to be just short of lockout, so a little bit of a flex in there. Just like with Jason Day, he was mostly just working on getting more hip turn. The right leg, losing a little bit of flex was just something that happened from that. Now, halfway to the golf ball, perfect. Now you've got a decent amount of hip turn. If your left heel wants to lift, let it. Remember, look at those guys back in the day. They all lifted that left heel. So we're talking about the Nicklaus era. All pretty good golfers back then. So absolutely, that's going to give us a little bit more depth. So remember, depth means the hands will be a little bit deeper. So what does that mean? Club's going to be now a little bit better on path without you trying in the downswing. And then you're going to have a shallower shaft like we saw Jason Day. So then you could continue to turn without much stall out. Brilliant. And of course, better hip turn, right leg being a little bit straighter because of that. Now you've got better hip tilt. See a little bit of an angle down there with my left hip being lower than my right. Now again, that's going to make it easier for me to sit and turn through the golf shot, have a better control of club face because I have better rotation. Everything's looking better. Let's hit one on this very icy mat. See if I fall over hitting it, because I generally might. It's that icy, that's why I haven't hit too many balls on this video here, guys. So let's hit one. There we go. The ball actually slipped towards me as I took the club back, but swing felt really good. Swing felt easier. I mean, one of the most common search terms on here for YouTube is effortless golf swing. This is an effortless golf swing. This is it. Restricting your hip turn, having the athletic golf swing, guess what that's for? Extremely athletic people who have this strange obsession with wanting to hurt their back. You don't really want to be having that restricted turn. You want to make golf easy. Especially guys out there, let's say you're a senior golfer out there watching this video. Good God, you cannot be restricting your hip turn. That's going to be horrendous for you. Don't copy the guys out on tour who still do this move, because some of them of course still do, because they became very skillful with that type of golf swing. Just because you might see a player do something on tour doesn't mean that's the optimal way to do it. They've just got extremely good with doing that from tons and tons and tons and tons of practice. You can really get good at any technique. If it's one of those guys that's a little bit gifted with a ton of practice, they could do any type of technique. You can imagine Phil Mickelson, massive steep shaft in the downswing, backs out of it, massive flip. He's one of the best players of all time because it's Phil Mickelson. So this is just going to be an easier way to swing for more of you. We want golf to be easy, so let's get this stick halfway to the golf ball. Let's get that hip turn, all those nice things to go from it. And there we go. So guys, avoid the athletic golf swing. Don't want to be doing that. Make sure you're turning those hips, lose a little bit of flex in that right leg, and you're going to be having a much healthier back. It's going to be virtually no strain on that back because of that, and you're going to be having a way better time turning and moving through the golf ball efficiently. So if you enjoyed this video, click the like button if you want more golf instruction just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too, to be notified every time I put out a video.